Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time I have first impressions of the Galaxy Z Fold6. Let's get started. There is not such a large number of new features compared to the last generation, but let me tell you specifically the changes that we will find. Because at the aesthetic level is where you are going to notice the most changes, since this device now integrates a slightly straighter design in its corners, abandoning the curved corners so marked that were in the last generation. I must say that they are not so uncomfortable in the hand, but you do get to feel a corner a little more marked. However, it now weighs in at 239 grams. This means it weighs 14 grams less than the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and 24 grams less than the Galaxy Z Fold 4. So, like all new generations, I think it's very attractive to upgrade if you have two past generations. If you currently have the Galaxy Z Fold 4, you will notice even more evolution in this generation. If you have the Galaxy Z Fold 5, you may not notice such an abysmal evolution, but it's definitely a device that feels lighter in the hand and more comfortable to hold. Incidentally, it is now available in a Silver Shadow edition, which is similar to the Titanium edition we saw on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. But in this case, it doesn't have titanium frames, nor is the color titanium. It is a silver edition, but at times gives the appearance of the Galaxy S24 Ultra Titanium edition. It is also available, interestingly, in a pink edition. And finally, the one that looks the prettiest to me, which is the dark blue. So these are the options in which it is available. And by the way, the camera rings are now darker, which would be another aesthetic change. In this case, we'll also gain a little more space on the external display, as it's slightly wider and therefore will improve typing a little bit. Although we will review the comfort as we use this device, for now it is simply a first approach. But it is true that on the screen of past generations it was very uncomfortable to write, because it is a smaller screen. So I think this improvement will also help the user experience when typing to be much better. And at the time of unfolding the device, we will also gain more space on this screen. So I like the fact that this device is thinner, lighter, but we still have more space on the screen. We gain exactly 2.7 millimeters on the horizontal axis when viewing content. So definitely that experience is going to be comfortable. In fact, another thing that I'm noticing as I'm using this device for the first time is that the V-Zagra is going to have a slightly more comfortable opening in the first stage, although in the final stage it gets a little bit stiffer. But overall, I think it's a more comfortable opening than the Galaxy Z Fold 5. The screens will be brighter. Here again, as I tell you, it slightly changes the ratio. In the unboxing and review, we will have more specific information, but now, as first impressions, it seems to me that the change has been very good with respect to the greater space we have in these screens. In the sound, there will also be differences, especially at the aesthetic level, as they ditch the grille design for this single perforation design for the speaker, very similar to what we see on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. I find the design very pleasing. All the bezels are straight, but in this case, oddly enough, it doesn't have Gorilla Armor, which I think would have been a very interesting addition, as we saw on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, avoiding a lot of reflections. Here remains Gorilla Glass Victus 2, which, while not a bad level of resistance, I think the fact that it generates so many reflections in such a premium product, having seen what Samsung is capable of on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, I'm a little disappointed. Another thing that disappoints me a bit is the photographic section. Because there is really no major evolution, at least at the hardware level, it is exactly the same. Obviously at the software level, there will surely be improvements with respect to the new processor, also taking advantage of the new capabilities that may come to have through artificial intelligence to improve the photographs. But as for the sensors and lenses, they are exactly the same as last generation, which in turn are exactly the same as in the Galaxy Z Fold 4. So, in this regard, Samsung has completely stagnated. We will have to wait until next year to see if they are encouraged to improve this section. But this is definitely one of the biggest criticisms I can make of this device. But at least one of the other new features I noticed is that it will allow us to record at 60 frames per second with the ultra-wide camera, which was one of my main complaints about the last generation. So at least there is also a small difference in video recording, which seems small, but can really make a significant difference for some number of users. Unfortunately though, unlike the Galaxy S24 Ultra, this device cannot record in 4K at 120 frames per second, something that would have been appealing as well. So as you realize, despite being Samsung's most expensive device, it doesn't really have as many camera capabilities as you'd find in the Galaxy S24 Ultra, unfortunately. But let me tell you now a little bit about the improvements that we could find at the software level, where we are going to have novelties again related to artificial intelligence. Obviously, we will find artificial intelligence to be able to organize your notes and transform them into a well-structured note, which we had already seen. Also in the web browser, you generate summaries. The transcription functions within the voice recording. Also, within Samsung Notes, we're going to have the same tools that we've seen previously, like to reformat the notes, also summarize them, translate them. But now, in the voice recorder that is integrated within Samsung Notes, we have all the functions that were previously only within the voice recorder application. That is, you could now fully record a lecture and later summarize or translate it all directly from within the Samsung Notes application itself. And of course, you can make a simple sketch in Samsung Notes and later convert it to an image with different styles thanks to artificial intelligence. Definitely, this is one of my favorite features that will make you gain a lot of creativity and make it very easy to create content and images based simply on the creativity you have by making a simple sketch. But here we will also find a new feature that is going to help you further optimize the S Pen. That is, for example, you can edit a photograph and simply add a sketch in the form of a drawing, even if it is simple, and then the artificial intelligence transforms this editing. So I might add a party hat, or I might add some glasses, or some other editing that you want. There, your imagination will determine the attractive result you can achieve. But it's definitely nice to see these kinds of tools with artificial intelligence to help make the S Pen much more useful. It also includes a new photo editor where you're going to be able to transform your portraits for a comic style, an animation style, or a sketch style. It's up to you as the user what you prefer, but it gives you these capabilities. In addition, the translation interpreter mode has been enhanced to work in real time. So you can simply put your cell phone down, and if you are listening to a lecture in English, you can see all the subtitles in real time. Or it can also be a simultaneous translation in conversation mode, so that taking advantage of the screen that remains in this area, you can see the translation on the screen that is looking at you, and the other person who is speaking in another language can see the subtitles on that screen. So it can be a useful tool also when you are having a conversation. And of course, it keeps the call translation in real time, but now the novelty is that it will also work within third-party applications. So in WhatsApp, for example, you could also activate this option so that you speak in your own language and the other person is listening to you in another language, and vice versa. Regarding the battery, we will find the same capacity, the same charging power. In that sense, there is no improvement. It should simply be noted that although the device is thinner and lighter, they have maintained this battery capacity. But another important point to note with respect to the new design being thinner is that they also incorporate a wider vapor chamber, specifically 1.6 times wider than the last generation. This is going to allow you better cooling, and in general, a horizontal folding usually has good cooling space. So in this case, I think we are going to see something advanced, and at least in theory we should see good stability when playing, where by the way we will find the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy, so that you have advanced ray tracing. Specifically, Samsung has shared with us that this device has 53% more power for an improved. So I insist, just this is barely a first look at this device. Obviously it has accessories to place on the back. In this case, it is still not integrated into the device, which is a debate that is still open in the community. Some do want it to be in the body of the device, others prefer it to be outside because they don't use it. Personally, I would like that to be inside the device because the case adds more thickness to it, and it is definitely not as comfortable to use with a case, but well, for now it has been a first glimpse, nothing more. Remember that soon we will have the review where we can learn more information about this device. And well, with this we have reached the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Soon I will be posting more content about this device. See you next time.